So, good morning, good morning, good morning. This is
Good
Deeva
morning.
with the Deeva Show, and we're here with LaVeta Cameron, Miss LaVeta Cameron, and we are doing an interview. I'm sorry, I had to apologize. Communication with my engineer, real quick. However, we're on the Deeva Show every second and fourth Thursday from noon until 2 p.m. We have interviews. This is about the inspiration, the industry, and all of the artists that we come across that we want to interview and get more information, not only just from you, but for the people that are interested in the arts. LaVeta, you have done so much in the industry, but you've done a lot prior to the industry.
Yes. Yes.
Prior to the industry. And, you know, people need to get that part straight.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Phenomenal, because it's like, you know, I read your bio, you're raising 2 children.
Yes, thank you. Yes, oh my goodness, my teenagers. Yes.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Sending prayers.
Yes, they're good. They're good. They're 14 and 16. They're good.
Listen, it's just not easy raising children, period. But raising teenagers is a whole different animal, especially in the city of Philadelphia. Yeah. Because with everything that you do, you have to still have that time for that cultivation and that protection that goes along with, you know, raising children, especially when you're in the industry. So I'm going to jumpstart. And the first thing I'm going to start talking about is in your bio, one of the things you said, you're an actor. You're an actress,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
What made you decide that you wanted to be an actress, and this is something that you wanted to take part in?
So first, I just want to say thank you again for having me on today. Thank you so much. And I feel like I've always wanted to be an actor. You know, like when you're a kid, you have I had a whole list of things. I was like, I want to be an actor, a teacher, a dancer, with the models, a whole list of things. But actor was always at the forefront. I was always, you know, doing church plays. I started, you know, in the little communication classes, teaching how to do like the radio interviews and things like that, just to get comfortable talking in front of people, being in front of people and the camera and everything like that. So I've always wanted to act. So when I went into college, I did theater. So that's my major. My undergrad is theater. So I just kept with it. Then I had some kids and couldn't do it as often as I wanted to. And then when I got a little like toddlers, a little older, I was able to like start theater. Then I think around the time I met you, I had just started doing film. My kids were a little older and I jumped into film. That was almost 10 years ago, I think.
So you have a theater and a film background.
Yes.
What was your because you and I know they're 2 different animals, you know.
Definitely.
Doing theater, it's like you have that one opportunity when you're up there to get it right because everybody's looking at you.
No, and that's so exhilarating. It's just, for me, it's time consuming. So you know how theater, you're rehearsing for weeks or months at a time, multiple times a week, just for sometimes one performance. And like you said, that one opportunity, but it's such a thrill in front of the audience, a live audience, nothing like it. So it's such a thrill to hear, you know, the reacting to what you're doing and everything, listen to the story, but it's not always captured. So I can't always look back at it. If it's not recorded, I can't always look back and actually see my performance, you know? And so it's just sometimes they don't have like a 2 or 3 day long run for the show. And it's just like, oh, we only have this one day. And it's like you rehearse for this one moment. God forbid you mess up your lines. You gotta keep going because it's no cut. You just keep going.
Yes.
Going.
Most definitely. And it's a I'm not gonna say a do or die situation, but like you said, you have that one moment, like you rehearse all of that time. You want to make sure that you get it right when it happens, like in that moment, because you can't repeat and do it over again. So what was your first performance as an actor?
Trying to think back.
Remember your production?
I think a big production, I would think probably when I was a teenager, the middle of high school, when we did something in church, I remember, because that was when I was like really able to shine, like, yes, I finally get to act in a play. I remember we had fog and stuff, you know, the big church plays. So that was one of my early experiences, I think. I don't think there was any actual play performance before then, but yeah, I think that was one of the earlier ones. I don't remember, what was that called? I don't remember.
Listen, I understand. And I think the only reason why I remember mine is because it was in grade school. It wasn't necessarily something that I wanted to necessarily do, because I wanted to get into more urban things and, you know, messages and stuff. We did Mary Poppins. It was the musical. And
Oh,
this, yeah, like, so it's okay. And there's a lot of singing and, you know, all of that kind of stuff, but it wasn't like nitty gritty as, you know, to what I
right,
wanted to do. So I
right.
didn't get into that until later. So I'm gonna move on and ask you another question, because like I said, reading your resume was just, well, not resume, your bio was just jaw dropping, because I learned some things about you that I did not know.
Really?
Yes.
Right.
And this one blew my mind.
What?
Drumming. When did you start drumming?
I started that in high school. I wanted to play the piano, but there were no more piano lessons. The teachers like, no, we're filled up for the classes. So the only thing that was left was drums. And I was like, oh, okay, let's try playing the drums. So I wound up loving it, moving to read it. And then I started eventually the other girls, I went to Philadelphia High School for Girls. And eventually I became the percussion leader, band leader. So I was in band, orchestra, jazz band. I learned how to play the drum set. And then my junior, senior year of high school, I started playing at my church. So that was cool. Then I became the drummer at my church and just playing. They were just, oh wow, it's a girl drummer like Sheila E. I'm no Sheila E, but I can hold my own in the pocket, you know, play my little drums.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And the thing about my previous pastor, his wife played the drums. You know, it's something exhilarating about a female on the drums. You
Yes,
know, it's just a feeling. It's just different. Not taking anything away from
I
the guy,
understand.
but it's just, when y'all get into it, it's just, I don't know, it just gives me chills. And I, you know what I mean? So you talking about, you know, playing in church, it just reminded me of my
Yes,
pastor's wife and everything, because women are capable of doing it, and y'all
yes,
get
we
down with
are.
it too.
Yes, we are.
And moving on, speaking on women and certain things that are supposedly considered male, and they're not. They're unisex.
That's
So
true.
we're gonna get in. We're gonna talk about this martial arts.
Yeah, it does. A lot of those things that I'm into seem like more male dominated things. Just, I don't know how it just happened that I became these different things. Like martial arts, I started doing it because my family does it. So I grew up watching my dad, Al Robinson. He doing martial arts under my uncle's school. That's Black Lion Fighting Systems, Dr. Timothy R. Robinson. So they would do classes when I was a kid. So I would see my dad, he would come home late at night, I'm sure I would sleep, and I know he'd be sore and banged up and stuff in classes. So once we moved and I got in middle school, I could ask him, when can we learn, me and my brothers? So eventually when I was 11, he started teaching us in the basement. Then a few months later, my uncle would come by the house and test us, and they were my dad's first students. So he would test us in the basement and everything. And then eventually we started going to the class with the other kids and the other adults. And I was like, oh, I love this. The only thing about it, which was kind of annoying, I will say, when the men would come to class, I guess this is when I was a upper belt, like a brown or black belt by that time. So they would come to class and they'd be afraid to do the moves on me. They would think I was so fragile because you're a girl. The move they would try to teach. It's like, all right, choke each other and get out of the move. And they tell us what to do. But they'd be so dainty. I don't want to hurt you and go like this. I was like, listen, you better choke me, because if it's my turn to choke you, I will darn sure choke you out. So I made them choke me. They would do it to me first, like, oh my goodness. And then they would do, I would just, oh my goodness, stop, take them down. So when I choked them, I gripped them up. It's like, oh, and they would pat out in pain, like, tell me to. But they
Wow.
learned, like, listen, treat me like, I know I'm not a man, but I fight mainly men because our class is predominantly men. And some girls, throughout the classes, they came and stopped throughout the years, but it's men in the classes. But it's good though, because it taught me, my dad always wanted to make sure that I knew how to take care of myself if he was there in case something happened in the street. So they wanted to make sure. So because I'm used to being hit, I can take a hit. I mean, they still hurt me, but I can take it. I'm used to being hit, how it feels, the impact. So I can, get out of technique. So they want to make sure they know it's not about how big you are or small you are. You could just do the techniques and teach you how to get out of it, or anybody. Empowering too. That's really empowering.
Listen, I've always admired the art. I always have. Have I taken the classes? No. And it's something I always thought about, but I really do admire the arts. And I didn't know if people were aware of that, because I know that you have advertised and so forth and so on, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But you're a 5-degree black belt.
I am. I'm a master. So in class they call me they don't really say Master LaVeta. They can, but that's just the 5th-degree Black Belt Master. But they call me Storm. That's my nickname, like X-Men. So they called me Storm way back when. So that's why Lady Ninja Storm came about throughout the years, 20-some years later. So I just kept it because that's what they call me. It's my black belt. I got one made up. I got X permission. Can I get a pink belt? I was like nearly the only girl there. So I was like, can I get a pink belt for myself? So they said, it's still a black belt, but it's just colored pink because, and they was looking at me like, what kind of pink black belt on? But it had Lady Ninja Storm written on it.
That's awesome.
So they said,
That's
yeah.
awesome. So what, if you could tell me, because I'm very unfamiliar with the process and so forth and so on. So because I never knew that it was degrees.
Oh, yeah.
So what determines the degrees? Because I always thought like once you get black belt, like you're just the top of the line and so forth and
right.
But you're top of the line.
Yeah, so in our school, we train Shotokan, Akijitsu, and Ninjutsu. So the top of ours is 10th degree, which is Grandmaster. So that's what my uncle is. And I guess you just stay at 10th degree Grandmaster. So you have stripes on your belt too. So you know the levels you are, or it might be like my belt is red and black. I know it's black, all black on one side and red and white on the other. So when it was when I was 4th degree, I wore the white up top. And then my 5th degree, I wear the red on top. But I have different, black belts I get to wear. But it's definitely, it takes a few years before you get, promoted again. Like I would say at least, it depends on how often you train and your skill level when the teacher thinks you're ready to be promoted. And sometimes they test you without you knowing that you're being tested. They'll just put you on the floor and you think, they're doing this regular classes, but they're really watching a certain person to just test you. And at the end, you just get promoted sometimes. That's kind of cool when that happens.
Wow.
But you also have to fight. Most times you have to go through some fight challenges. Like 10 years ago, I was the first female in my dojo to do a 25-man challenge. So that's, you have to fight, do 25 rounds, 2 minutes, about 2 minutes each. You might have had a break between maybe 3 to 4 or 5 rounds. You might have had like a minute or 2 break and then you up fighting again. So I trained for months to do that. And that was a lot. That was
a lot. I'm getting a little exhausted, thinking about fighting 25 fights.
Right. And you think those 2 minutes last a long time when it's just when you up there moving and fighting and you get hit and trying not to get hit and block and get thrown out. You're exerting a lot of energy and trying to keep your stamina up and do your techniques. But I mean, yeah, I got through it. I was proud. I was happy. But I didn't try a 50-man challenge. Some people tried a 50-man challenge in my class. And one guy even tried a 100-man challenge. I'm like, I was good with the 25-man challenge.
Listen, like I understand.
I totally understand. Yeah. They have us breaking bricks and stuff like that in woods, and
Was that your the beginning of your entrepreneurship when you decided that you wanted to start training and have classes of your own?
No, I had the other business before that, the administrative service before that.
Okay, tell us about that one.
So I left my 9-to-5 about almost 4 years ago. October 2018 was the last time. I used to have work in charter schools, supposed to be charter schools, like not as a teacher, just as like HR director, office manager, purchasing agents, things like that with the adults. So I left there and started SASSanize, which is simply administrative strategic solutions. So that when I call myself the assassinator with a play on words, like, my kids, Mom's going to kill people, like the assassin, but it's called the assassinator because, I'm still sassy too. So the little acronym in there. So I started doing that to help people with administrative services. I found that I was good at creating different, I guess, systematic things in place to make it easier and more efficient to get things done for people. So with their businesses. And people were just good at doing what they were good at doing, but not on the back office end. They didn't have good administrative stuff in place that really need help. So then they hired me to do things. And then it started becoming other things like, hey, can you do this resume? So I went in not with the intent of doing certain things I'm doing now, but because people asked me, the demand, I supply the demand. So now I do resumes and other things. And like I'm editing a book for someone right now. I've done research for people, just a lot of different things because everyone has a different business and a different need. So I'm learning about different types of businesses too. As long as it's admin, I feel good about it. So that was actually my first time stepping out. Well, I never went back. I just stayed out here at entrepreneurship.
That's awesome because like you said, a lot of people have ideas, businesses that they have, but the time management piece and getting the details, the administrative details, filing properly, making sure that,
Yes.
you know, information is accessible and so forth and so on. That's major and that's important. And, you know, how do I say, I do a lot of administrative work. That's, you know, my thing.
Understand.
You know, the 9 to 5 thing. However, I learned that it has to be more defined when, you know, I developed my company. So the piece that you have and you have to offer is a very unique piece and is needed. You know, you want to tell people how they can contact you in reference to that if they still need those services?
Yes, they can easily just go to my website, www.sassinize.com. So it's SASSINIZE.com. And it took me about almost a year before I came up with the name. So I was already thinking about this a year prior. And I was like, I need to have the perfect name for this. And I wanted an acronym. So I have unofficial focus groups who I just texting people all the time, different names, like, hey, what about this? Like, no. So I think I was going to be like Sassinization or something, or Sassinizer, but then Sassinizer. So I was like, what the, like Sassinator, like the Terminator. And I was like, I like that. That's what I call myself when I do that work, the Sassinator. That's cool.
So we're going to touch back. Why did you decide, or how did it come about, you teaching the martial arts? Because I know, you know, that's the background that you have.
Yes.
And doing administrative work. So where did you bridge into, you know, teaching martial arts?
I guess because, well, I was an assistant teacher at my dojo. So sometimes I was asked to lead the class, which was fine. But then other people would ask me, when are you going to start, you know, teaching your own? I was like, well, I didn't think about it. But then it became a thing because I realized a lot of females aren't in the class, but females probably feel comfortable learning from another female because they may look at the men like, well, you're a man, you're stronger, bigger. Anyway, of course you can do these techniques. So look at me, like another female, like I can teach them, like, actually, you really can do this, just to empower them. So that's how that started. So now I started doing like private sessions, like with COVID and everything, we go out to the park when it's nice out, or out to even like someone's living room space, we'll move the furniture out the way, just, you know, do stuff there, a little rec center, stuff like that. So that's how that came about. So it was just like, hey, and then I have groups sometimes, like, I think last month we did something with teenagers. So I forget the name of the group. With a group of teenagers to teach them, like, you know, like I said, empowerment, help the girls with self-esteem. And so they teach them a little bit about that. So I did a group.
That's major right there. So I'm not going to brush over it. It's major because we have a crisis with our youth right now. Not just a crisis with the violence, but also with the mental health and self-esteem. So that's major and important. And that's something that you still doing regularly, right?
Yep. On demand. It's more so because I make my schedule up, I can easily get in. So it's never ever a set time. Like, hey, whenever they're afraid to hit me, like, hey, can we do this on my calendar? You know, go out. Or if they have like big events, then I'm planning, you know, more in advance. Like I have one next month in a couple of weeks, so they planned it, you know, a couple months ago. So stuff like that.
And that was very important that you carried on also during COVID, doing it outside, you know, so people are more comfortable. Right. Because I think COVID was a contributor to a lot of mental health issues that people had.
I agree. A lot of depression and stuff, and talking to teens and stuff. And yeah, it's just a lot with I talk to my friends and stuff. We talk about our kids and stuff, what they're going through mentally, just being home and not being able to see their friends. And then they have a lot of time on their hands to think, you know, just being home. So they were just thinking in their own thoughts and stuff and not have enough outside activities because of COVID. We couldn't, you know, do but so much. So now I like it better. It's, you know, it's a little bit better. They're getting out and being able to socialize again like they were before. Mm-hmm. Not the same way, of course, but, you know, but I do think that helps them.
Yeah, that socializing piece is extremely important, and teenagers as well as young kids, because you know they're used to being in daycare because some daycare shut down. They're used to being in daycare and, you know, playing with their friends and getting that separation from mom and dad. And now that things are opening back up, some of them was having, you know, separation anxiety because they used to being with mom and dad while mom is on or dad is on the computer at home working from home, and now you dropping me off again. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, so, I get reacclimated. Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, the little ones get it too. So, modeling. I've seen your pictures. I was like, look at her, check her out.
One of those things.
Listen, I admire your drive and the way that you push to do so many things. And it comes off very, very crisp, very strong. And it's like I'm not going to say a jack of all trades. I don't like when people say a jack of all trades.
I don't either.
You know what I mean? It's like you are involved in quite a bit and you're mastering what you do. I enjoy, your pictures. You know what I mean? And they're breathtaking. I'm trying to remember. It was one that you had with another young lady, and the way that you all commanded that camera for that photo, I was like, wow, because they went from like the bottom to the top, just showing. And not only some people, when they hear model, they think about somebody walking down a runway, but no, models go through a lot, especially when they're taking still pictures. You have to get it right. You got to get the angle right. You might have to hold the position for a long time in order for them to get the right shot. You may be uncomfortable, trying to get in position, like all of that kind of stuff. And you're doing it. You're doing it.
Thank you. It was, I remember I told you one of those things I wanted to do. My list of things for modeling was always on there. But I always felt like, because I'm not like bone straight skinny, I always felt like, well, I can't be model. I felt voluptuous because I was like bigger than like what it used to be the norm for what they wanted for models to look like. So then 2 years ago during COVID, I was just like, well, I always want to be this way. So you have to present yourself to people how you want to be perceived. So I was like, yo, I'm a model. I can do this. So I just started out taking out pictures for business. Then I was like, the photographer, she would tell me, I think my first was Janelle Hall Reagan, and she would tell me like how to pose and practice. So eventually I would just start going more and more, because some photographers, you go when they ask you to come, they expect you to know how to pose already. But I was still sometimes in the beginning stages of like, oh, how do I hold my body? Is this right? And, do this, hold this with your shoulders up, and, still learning. But once I started going on others with other photographers that were new to me, I would just realize, okay, I can do this. They thought it was good. Okay, this was fine. And you get so many negatives, so many shots and negatives that you don't like. And there's only a couple in there like, oh, I like that shot. But you have to look through like sometimes hundreds of them before you find one that actually looks okay. Was my body right? Was my face right? Was my eyes like?
And the thing about it is you have, because I had a photo shoot in New York. This was like oh man, some years ago, right? And a young lady, she was just getting started, and she said, I'll do your photo shoot. She's mean with a camera in New York right now. A lot of people can't afford it. I told her, I said, let me know how much I can get it now. And she sent me an email. I said, yeah, I'm gonna get back to you.
And that's okay. That's okay.
But I didn't. One of the things I would not do is say to a person, well, can I get a discount? No, respect the work, respect the art, and respect their talent. But what was funny, and the point that I was trying to make, is that when we did that photo shoot, she put it all on a disc, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even think about it. But when I got the disc, it's like she picked out certain pictures that she specified that, she worked on and so forth and so on. But when I got the disc, it was so many shots on there. When the photographers be taking those pictures, they be taking a whole lot of
frames, like just snap, and realize.
Because like they want to make sure that they pull the best shot from all of it. You can't just say, okay, I'm gonna take 5 pics and that be it. And then you really, you don't have much to choose from.
Yeah, and they have to worry about the lighting. Sometimes, they're trying to get the lighting right in the studios and stuff, and want to hold this. And you're right, because it does get tiring holding certain positions. Like, oh, do that again. Like, crap, what did I just do? They catch you off guard. I like to dance a lot, so I'm always dancing, moving, doing everything. So they always like, wait, do that again. I'm like, crap, I was just dancing, like, and they catch you in a moment, but it comes out sometimes. It looks good.
And you do have a company where you cultivate and you teach that. And you teach the dance. Let's talk about that.
I used to do praise dancing years ago, starting when I was in high school, about 16, 17. So I hadn't done it. I think the last time I did a real praise dance was probably maybe 2014, 15. So I haven't done praise dance in a while, but I did used to teach the girls at the church and other, little kids. Usually 8 or not was the minimum. I had one that was 5. She's like 21 at the time now, I think. But yeah, they were young. We used to all do that. They would come into my apartment and practice, and I would just, I couldn't remember all the actual mime things, but I would come up with basically all the choreography, and they would, give us love offerings, have us do events and stuff, and sometimes go to other churches. So that was really fun. So that's when I really started like choreograph and stuff. Like, oh, I can do this. I'm not a trained dancer per se. I took some dance classes in college, but I could make things look great performance wise. So it looks like something. So I'm not a trained.
And that's important. That's important.
Yes.
Because sometimes, listen, I know we're all in the arts, and I don't want anybody in the dance community to come at me because my daughter's in the dance community.
I remember.
I totally understand that, yeah, that it's about what they see.
Right.
It's about what they see, what they receive from you when you're up there. You know what I mean? Because nobody's going to walk up to you and say, okay, I saw the way that you lifted your leg. Did you go to school for that? You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
As long as you come across,
right.
That's what's important.
Yep.
So I'm going to take a quick commercial break. We're not leaving. Y'all can stay online. But I just wanted to say you are watching the Deeva Show with LaVeta, Cameron, and we are here. We're talking about Miss LaVeta and her journey in the arts. And you can check this out on the next Deeva Show. It'll be on 12 noon until 2 p.m. All right. And just real quick, I just want to promote this book. This is by infamous Madam. Black Madam was the young lady that unfortunately, she unfortunately was arrested for doing the butt injections in Philadelphia and did 10 years. And during that time, she took the time to reflect on some things and reflect on her life, and she put it in a book. And I'm going to tell you, it's an easy read. I tell people all the time, I love to write. However, sometimes I don't get the time to sit down and read, but I started reading this book and I went through like 8 chapters in one sitting. And the only reason why I stopped is because I was falling asleep. And when I tell you it's detailed, it's not just about the butt injections, it's about her transgender journey, what she went through from the time that she was a young child all the way up into the butt injections, all the way up into what's going on with her now. And since she's been released from prison, she has been out here doing music videos, and I'm going to be writing the film for this book. So make sure you check out the book. I'm just going to tell you, it has everything in it, and it's real. It's talking about, transgender, as well as life choices, decisions, the criminology of what was going on with the butt injections. Like it's a great book to read. So make sure that you check it out. You can get it online. Just type in infamous Black Madam and it'll come right up. It's only $19.99. I even love the texture of the cover. Like, and it's sexy. It's greasy. It's inspirational. Like everything that you could think of, she bears her soul in this book. So make sure that you check out the book. All right, so we are back with Miss LaVeta Cameron on the Deeva Show, and we're going to talk about it. You got a lot going on outside now. We done talked about your past and talk about some of the cultivation that brought you to where you are today. So I'm going to ask you, when did you decide that you wanted to start writing?
I've always been a writer since I was little. I have stuff written down, but I used to get, I guess, writer's block. So I was always saying, try to write a full like novel or something, like, oh, I got writer's block. And I was content at the time just working on other people's productions and films. And then I was like, well, let me just try writing again, because I've always loved to do creative writing, any kind of writing. And then once I did it, I think 2 years ago, I just started writing scripts and signed up with the 5 Shorts Project. And then I was like, okay. And then I was just like, okay. So I didn't, once we did the one film that was assigned for the class, I was just like, oh, I don't want to stop, because it was such a high. I was like, I'm good at this. I can continue doing this. So I just kept writing and kept filming, basically. So
okay. Now, you were writing, correct me if I'm wrong, you were writing this while you were acting in Intertwine. Am I correct?
Yes. So I started writing, I think I started Intertwine in 2019, I think, like 3 summers ago, or springs ago, I think I came to Intertwine. And then I started writing March-ish of 2020.
Okay. So I know Intertwine is a project that's coming up. It's a TV series. And
excited.
I was a part of the writing team at a time. So I want to ask you, of course, we don't want to release everything. But tell me just a brief bit about your character that you played in Intertwine.
So her name is Jen, and she basically works as a receptionist, or she runs the kind of what I do, but she runs it on like the admin for the barbershop.
Okay.
So, and I see a lot of characters coming through the barbershop, basically. Let's just say that.
Okay. All right. So with Intertwine should be coming out anytime now. I know they've been working on it for
we're
some
still
time.
filming. Yeah, we're still filming. I'm going to do some more of my scenes. I did a couple of scenes for mine. I think I have a couple more to go. So
okay. So make sure y'all anticipate Intertwine
yes.
TV series. It's coming out. It's phenomenal. It's very layered. It's comical. It's drama.
Something for everybody.
Yeah, it's something for everybody in there.
Definitely.
You know, it's something for kids up in there. Like, it's something for everybody in there. So make sure that, you know, you follow Miss LaVeta Cameron so that you can make sure that you see when the release of Intertwine is going to be, because I can tell you, I'm familiar with it, and I know it's going to be off the chain.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So, which brings us to Red Light.
My baby.
Tell us about Red Light. What I kind of have an idea, but I want you to tell the audience, because I know this is a very it's a great project, and it's something that you're very passionate about. So opposed to me speaking on that, I'm going to let you speak about Red Light and what got you started. What made you think that this was something that needed to be out there? And it definitely does.
I think it was I had a backwards way of thinking, because I didn't originally think this was a story that needed to be told. I did my first film, No Games, under Ninja Storm Productions, my production company. That was for my 5 shorts class. So after it was over, I wrote a couple more films, and I wanted to. I noticed, like, as an actor, I would sometimes get cast certain roles that I don't want to be like, oh, this person's best friend. I know sometimes I was getting cast as this, and I wanted to make sure everyone else got different types of roles, wouldn't be typecast. So I asked one of the actors in No Games, Miss Karen Waller Martin, I asked her what type of character does she want to play? Because she said she's always like the principal or the teacher, the mom, the grandma, like the good girl roles. And she wanted to do something spicy and cutting edge and everything. So I created a character for her called Queen Madeline Ray. And I was trying to figure out who could she be? What kind of figure could she be? So I made her in charge of this human trafficking ring. And it's supposed to have been just a short film, but once we shot it, it was January last year, 2021. We shot the short film. It was like 30 people, staff and crew on set. It was a lot of us. And we did this in Lansdale. Once it was done, I was like, wait, we can do this again. But I was like, I can make this to a series or a feature. So I decided to write it into a full-length film so that I can really expand on everything. As I'm writing, I realized, no, it is a serious topic. And I wanted to get fighting in there because that's what I love to do. Because I'm one of the actors in it too, so I want to make sure I can write, I can fight, then I can have a great character like Miss Karen's. And I was like, wow, this is everything that I love to do: producing, writing, acting, fighting. So I can do it all in one. And I had to finish developing the story. It was, as a short, it was developed, but then I had to write around what we already shot to make it all make sense in the feature. So it didn't start out as a feature. I decided, to go back. So now I'm like, how does this make sense? So I had to really come up with side stories, sub stories, lines in there. Like, okay, how does this go with this, and why did this happen? Like, okay, this makes sense. So now it just became this big thing, a big movement. And I was like, wow, I really do want to help these women, or not just women, children are human traffickers, or men as well. And last summer, as we raising money, I started combining Storms Defense, my self-defense class, and fundraising, doing classes in the park to help bring money for the human trafficking, to help, to give safety tips on what not to do and how to be more aware of your surroundings when you're out in public, or just, be careful so that you don't fall victim to the human trade market. So that's basically how it came about. So now there are a bunch of bad guys in the film who's in charge of the organization. And then it becomes a bunch of, I had to get a lot of females to be in it. I had to ask them ahead of time if they're okay with, in the scene, being, disrespected, called out of their name, being touched a certain way, if they're okay with being smelled, and, ripped up, just different things that could happen. So I didn't want to trigger anyone either, because, you never know what people have gone through already. So I had to make sure they were comfortable on set, and in between takes, I like to laugh and dance and everything like that. So we always did that. So it was like lighthearted in between takes because it's such a serious matter. And they would come out and we'd be like, action, and the tears would flow and different things, different scenes, and they'd be screaming or crying, you know, just acting out. And then once we say cut, we're all cracking up because just that, you know, in between changing the lenses or whatever, we're just like, okay, we need a breather because it's a serious subject and it can be heavy because we're dealing with, you know, the worst kidnappings. We showed in great detail how they were kidnapped, some of the different scenarios, like in the car pickups, in the supermarket parking lot, just things that I want the audience, when they watch, to take away from it. I want them to look at it and see themselves, and they're like, you know what? I actually do that. Let me be more careful, not realizing they do this, but just to make them aware of things that they sometimes may do or seen other friends do, can warn their daughters, nieces, whoever, warn people, like, you know what? You should watch this. It's good for teenagers. I mean, it's probably gonna be like rated R, most likely for adult language and violence and, you know, sexual activity, but it's good educational wise. At some point during a film, it has the bad guys telling the women how stupid they were for getting picked up, what they did. Like, you were so stupid, you just standing there on your phone, not paying attention. You thought you just go out in the park by yourself. You could do this at nighttime, just calling the girls out, but really talking to the audience about what they should and shouldn't do, just to be careful. So it's done in a creative way, and it's all fiction. It's all cinematic fiction, but it's done in a way to make people, you might forget that it's fake, basically.
I highly commend you for doing that and putting that out there, because we are living in some difficult times, and sex trafficking, human trafficking, I'm not going to say sex trafficking, human trafficking has reached such a high in a lot of the inner cities and also in, you know, the counties and things like that. But I'm looking forward to seeing the film and listening to you and the way that you creatively put it out there. Not only just telling the story, but sometimes you do have to call people out on stuff to bring about awareness, because you can say you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't do that. And when you bring it to them and the form in which you're speaking about, it's like, look at what you did.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding you're here, not a blame game or anything like that, right, but look at what you did, think about it, and think about how you can do things differently so that something like this, you know, doesn't happen. Because I will be honest, I'll tell you about an incident that happened with me, and I didn't think about it until afterwards. So I was going to Lowe's and I'm approaching, and it's this lady in it was like a van, and she's standing in front of the van, and I saw her looking back and forth for a couple minutes as I'm approaching, because I parked my car, whatever. So I'm walking up, and as I'm walking up, she extends herself a little bit away, slightly away from the van. So what she said to me as I'm walking towards the back of the van, she says to me, she says, can I use your cell phone to call my husband, because he's in the store and I don't think he knows that I'm sitting out here waiting for him. And I looked at her and I said, I can call him for you. And then I took some steps away from her. I said, I can call him for you. And when I said, I can call him for you, she was like, oh, no, never mind. I'll just wait and see, you know, a couple more minutes to see if he comes out. So I distanced myself from her because I was like at the back of the van. I recognized it was a van. Not a lot of people go to, you know, Lowe's and stuff like that in a van, not females anyway. Most times it might be a contractor or something like that, but it was a dark van. And it's like she was looking back and forth. So to me, it's like, if I gave her my phone, that's the end of my communication. I wouldn't be able to do anything. And not only that, she could have easily walked into Lowe's and walked down the aisles and looked for her husband.
That's what I was thinking.
Why does she need to use my phone to call her husband? She could have had him page that customer service. Like, I was just thinking so many things. I was like, yo, that was really weird. And that was really strange, but it was real to me. And then I even thought to myself, because there have been people that had approached me and asked me if they could use my phone and this, that, and the other. And I just brush them off. And I don't know why I trusted at that moment. I don't know why I trusted to even entertain a conversation. You understand what I'm saying?
I
So
do. But at least you followed your intuition, your gut, and
yeah,
you
because I was like,
stayed away. It didn't make sense. It wasn't adding up. Like, why can't you go inside for your husband? Like, why you need my phone?
right, it was just so many other people around. But I have a habit of making sure when I get out my car, I lock my car. I don't carry a purse anymore because of what's going on in Philly. Anything that I need is my ID card and whatever credit card.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Other than that, taking all of that stuff off of the key. So, when you get home, you could just stick your key in the door. It's a lot of little things, that go on. But the human trafficking has gotten to a height, with me working for PPD, Philadelphia Police Department. I see the missing persons reports, and it has grown. There's a lot of missing children. There's a lot of missing middle-aged adults. It's just getting to a point. I know Atlanta is at the highest right now,
Oh, goodness.
for human trafficking. So just to give you all another insight, Red Light is talking about human trafficking. It brings about awareness of human trafficking, some of the things, tools that you can learn to avoid it, all of that wrapped into the stories of these young ladies and young men that are involved, and what happens sometimes when these things happen. And I know it messes with their mental, self-esteem, brings about fear while they're going through it, which makes it difficult for them to get out. Because I was watching something the other day, once you get beat down, it's like you feel like there's no hope, but there is.
I see how they feel like it's not any hope. And I like how you said you said the missing reports are like middle-aged people as well. So I made sure when we cast the victims that they were women of all different like nationalities, ethnicities, and age groups too. So that way, and different sizes and everything. Because I wanted people watching. I didn't want them to think, oh well, I'm exempt because I look a certain way. So I want everyone to be represented there to know that it doesn't matter. You can still be a victim. So if you're gonna look
That's
out.
major. That's
That's
major.
our purpose. Because someone once told me, well, I don't think you should have a couple of these girls in it because I don't think they want to be. I was like, no, anybody can be a victim. It doesn't matter. I don't want them to think they're exempt because they look a certain way. Not at all.
No, not at all. Like, no, that doesn't matter, because in the sense, when it comes to human trafficking, the reason why they do it is because they're going to use them as sex slaves and so forth and so on. And while everybody has a preference of who they want to be with, they want to make sure that they supply whatever preference,
Exactly.
you know what I mean? So it's all shapes, sizes, colors. It doesn't even matter.
Everything.
So Philadelphia Urban Film Awards.
Yes. Ella, so you look beautiful. You and your daughter. Yes.
Oh, thank you.
I think you were the first people I saw. Thank you. When I got in the room, one of the first people I saw. I got to look through the parking, but yeah.
Oh, it was a night. It was a night. It was awesome because so many people were represented.
Yes, so many. I love seeing all the people. Yes.
Oh my gosh. It was just, how do I say, all of us that like are Facebook friends and things like that.
Right,
We haven't
right.
seen each other in like 2 or 3 years because of COVID. And some of us who have
Exactly.
projects together, it's like finally we were all in one room. But not only were we all in one room, everyone was represented in every way. You not only had multiple nominations, you walked away with an award. So what was the award?
That one was Putting in Work Award. I was like, thank you, Jimmy. Well, when he gave it to me, he's like, yeah, so next year I hope to win some awards for Red Light if it's out by then. So I'm hoping.
You will. I'm almost positive of it. And putting in work. Listen, when I got your bio and I was reading your bio, putting in work is an understatement for what you do. So I just want to say that, like, you do put in work and you're getting it done. Congratulations on your award.
Much.
Tell people about your GoFundMe page that you have up for Red Light, because right now she's still in the process of doing Red Light, and she has a GoFundMe page up that you can go to and you can contribute. It's a major topic. It's informational. It's needed, and let them know about your GoFundMe page so they can go there, and if they want to contribute, that they can do so.
Yes, we're still doing the GoFundMe. It's only still up there because we finished shooting everything. However, we're in post-production. So we had like a huge cast and crew, about 80 people, I think, cast and crew. It was a lot of us on sets. It was like about 12 days of filming. So if you would love to contribute to it, it's we go to GoFundMe, Red Light Movie Human Trafficking Awareness. So that's the you can just look it up, Red Light Movie Trafficking Awareness, and it will come up there. So thank you so much to those who have donated. A lot of stuff went to, we rented cameras, and we rented like spaces, and some were for free, so that was good. And also we had to feed like lots of people all the time. Most days, oh my goodness, there's at least 20, 30 people almost every day of filming because it's so, oh my goodness.
Trust me, I know, and
I know.
that whole feeding part is a whole different animal, and
that stresses me out. Oh my goodness.
Services, I can't wait. Next time I say, you know what, I'm going craft services, I can't do it. I'm gonna have to work on like getting a package. And the thing about it is, as independent filmmakers, budgets are difficult. Let's be honest, budgets are difficult because a lot of times we're pulling it out of our own, our own mouth to make this work. So, one of these days I'm definitely going to have craft services on deck, and you know what I mean? They can bring the little sandwiches.
I was going to the market a lot. I said, oh, I need to have snacks for this. And people, some are vegetarians, you got pescatarians and vegans, and some that don't eat dairy or don't eat pork. It's a whole bunch of different people, and they're trying to make sure it's something for everybody to be able to eat something. Because
peanut allergies.
Yeah, that too, right. Because I'm as an actor, I've been on sets and I can't eat cheese. A lot of times they have pizza, and I'm usually just hungry because, I'm just usually.
I was getting ready to say that. I'm Karen Waller Martin, I love you. I love you.
You don't eat cheese either.
Listen, I love you. So, of course, you film it and everything, and, everybody needs to eat and this, that, and the other. Now, what is the easiest thing? I was like, all right, I'm getting on the horn. I'm ordering some pizza for everybody. Like, let me know what toppings you want and this, that, and the other. So, I ordered the pies and the whole nine, and, Skylar is there and everything. And she turned to me.
Like me.
She turned to me when the pizza got there, and she said, "Did you get a tomato pie?" Listen, I felt so hurt. I was like, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry," because I know, she don't eat certain things. I don't eat certain things also, but I wanted to make sure that I still accommodated them because of their diet. And you're saying that you don't eat cheese, so if we ever work together, I know you don't eat cheese either. So I get it, and I understand it's a lot of things that they didn't eat, which is fine.
So you got to make sure everyone is, fed, especially if I keep feeding the actors right away. It's like, I got to give you something, at least have you comfortable with that, with lots of snacks and drinks on that. Just,
and
with their long hours.
Thing. Huh? Their peanut allergy thing.
Right, and keep that separate, or don't get any peanuts at all. It's a lot. So that stresses me out, the food portion.
And I understand. And, I'm just going to say that there was one time, because it was an issue with the food, not with Karen Waller Martin. That was just one day, and she understood, and we worked it out.
Have you seen her, or for Witness?
It was for Witness.
Okay.
But so I said, okay, I'm going to go a different route. So I made all of these sandwiches, right? Cut them up so that they're in individual bags for everybody because of COVID and this, that, and the other.
Right.
Like, they're not picking over it and this, that, and the other. They eat one sandwich. I'm like, somebody got to eat a sandwich. Like, I don't know what to do. I'm making the food now. Nobody eats it. Can't eat the pizza. Like you said, it's stressful.
I went to Wawa sandwiches. I did Wawa sandwiches a lot. I really got tired of Wawa, but it was just cheaper to do because of so many people. And I would just say, okay, some would just have just the meat, and I would get some of the just vegetables on it, and the no cheese ones, just the vegetables, and then have like the condiments on the side because like some people don't want kale like me, and some people don't want cheese and don't want this. So it was just a lot. It was a lot.
But you know what? But like I said, like, listen, we getting there.
We are. We're
gonna get that craft services where we just get a package and let them know, we need different particular things, and they'll make sure and they'll set it up, and we don't have to worry about it. And they bring it and they clean it up.
Oh, that's awesome. I was sending my key out. Here's my debit card. Can you get this? I was like, what should we get today? Let her figure out. Thank you so much. Because the whole thing is filming, honestly, the food part stresses me out the most. Of all the filming, the food stresses me out. Really.
I get it. But see, that is, and the thing is that you're on set, and I don't know about you,
What?
but I don't really get hungry when I'm on set.
They're like, did you eat? Hungry. Did you eat? So sometimes I started forcing myself, like, look, I ate this banana, I drank some water. So in case somebody asked you, I ate, okay? Because they would come at me. I know they're checking on me, but I wasn't thinking. I'm like looking at the sheet, like the call sheet, like what do we got to film next? Like, did you eat? Yeah. I'm like, well, we got to this thing, that thing. Did you eat? I'm like, I'm even hungry right now.
Listen, you walk around with about, and then you take a sip, and like, all right, what are we doing next? All right, exactly. All right, let's set this up for the next scene. So, you know, that's one of the things about directors, people, when we're on set,
you're in that zone.
We're in the zone, and it's not that we don't care that you don't eat. We apologize, you know, at times, because sometimes we shooting, and then y'all be like, all right, well, when is lunch? Like, oh wow, dang.
I'm looking at like, you know, how much time I got left to do this scene. Like,
yes. Can we get this last scene done, and then we can eat. Like,
right. And then they have the other people who don't tell you ahead of time. Like, I prefer if they're their whole day clear for filming, because you know it's really no rep time and stuff can happen. So then you get the people, they come to the side, hey, I kind of need it this time. I'm like, well, I gotta get this scene in. I'm just like, oh my goodness. That is a little pet peeve I had. So it doesn't happen too often, but it has happened a few times.
Oh, I'm going to tell you that it has happened a couple times. So it happened on Have You Seen Her, which it was not a good time at all for it to happen at all. One of the things I don't think the actors understand is that you have camera, boom, you have sound, you have lighting, you have all of these people that are there that are dedicating their time. And when you do that, like, you are shutting down production, and you're making your director have to redo in order. And the thing about it is, you set up locations in order for certain things to happen, and everyone, and I tell them, everyone is an intricate piece to the film. So if you're missing, it's like, well, I can't do that scene today, and you might have to pay for the location. Now you got to pay for the location again. It's a lot that goes into it that I don't think they understand. But I instilled in them, when we were doing Witness, I said, you know, if you're going to take on the role, I need you to understand, I'll give as much as I can advance notice. But sometimes people didn't get their call sheets. When I was working on Brotherly Love, we didn't get the call sheet until the middle of the night, and then had to be on set at 8 o'clock in the morning. But I try to give advance notice, right? So if you're not available that day, say I'm not available that day.
Yes. Don't plan something else that day. Don't plan and have a double booking, and please don't. You mess up 2 productions. I've had that happen too. And then I had people, sometimes they had the wrong wardrobe or something, so I had to make do, or sometimes I had to I'm
gonna sip on my tea.
I had to, like, sometimes I had to send people home. I said, well, I can't use you. You're not in the right wardrobe. Then we improvised. You know what? You take this line. You take this. We're going to make it work. We're going to get the shot done. So I had to, like, and it wasn't nothing personal. I had to send people home sometimes. Like my dad, my mom, he was like, he went home. He was in Red Light. I have him in there too. And he's in there. My mom was like, oh, you're home early. He said, oh, well, she sent me home. I forgot my shirt. So he was happy though, because he was tired of me. He was happy, but she was, so my mom said, started messing with me, like, yo, she don't send anybody home. She even sent her own father home. He wasn't in the right wardrobe, like, because of, you know, the continuity. You know, I don't shoot in order, so the continuity, it has to match. And if it didn't, you know how we look at stuff, like, you know, it just had that on. You know, we look at the movies and
exactly. I had a whole, and I'm just going to break it down. I did have a whole situation where I had to redo a whole entire scene. The scene was phenomenal. It was shot down Penn's Landing, and you know, it was like a sunset. The sun was just coming up off of the water. They were walking, they were talking. It was just, they were coming from a date after having dinner. It was just freaking phenomenal. I loved the scene. That was one of my favorite scenes. But because of continuity, I couldn't use it because of the hair. Just because of the hair.
That has to match.
It has to match. Continuity is so important.
It has to. As an actor, I always ask the directors, because I started like a year and a half ago wearing braids. I didn't before, but because I had, my hair was long when we first met me, so I cut it a few years ago. So now it's going back. I can do 2 buns now, say my 2 buns. So I have to ask them, is it okay? Like, is it okay? I'm going to take my braids out. So it's going to be like this. Is it okay? So I have to ask, because it be messy. I don't want to look a certain way. And then if you're going to shoot, are my braids still going to be in? Like, wait a minute. When is my next shoot date? Or my back after today? Like, you have to ask. Those are important questions you need to ask, I think, as an actor.
That's what you call a professional actor. They understand we're in production. I have a couple more scenes to do. Let me reach out and ask if this is okay. Is it going to mess with the continuity? Should I leave my braids in and just try to gel them up a little bit so they
exactly,
you know what I mean? So that we can get these shots done. And is it possible that we can try with the locations to get all of those shots done in one day? So then I can go ahead and take my hair out instead of like dragging out all of my shots. So it's important.
It is.
So tell me, where can they check out your future work? Because I know you're working on something else as well, right? What are you working on now?
So now, quite a few actually. So I've been hired. So I don't just do my own production. I get hired sometimes as a director, assistant director, or producer, or casting director for other films as well. So I am currently, the one film is Pain Switch. That's a short film that's shot in Jersey. So that one, I'm casting director and assistant director for this one. Then the other one I'm doing, so that's about this emotional situations, like a lot of, I would say like a cross between like Christian and urban, like Christian based and urban. So I like that it has a good mix up for everybody. And then the other one is called Wet, and that's a LGBTQ erotic thriller feature film. So for this one, that's Luke Allen Productions. So Luke Allen, he's a writer, director, and everything. And I am the co-director and the casting director and the choreographer and also the producer. So I'm helping doing that one. So and I'm also acting in it too. So so that one's, and the other one I forgot to mention, Pain Switch, was Daniel Triplett. So those are the ones. And then there's other ones I'm helping Kevin Overton with Waterhead Films on his film My Funny Valentine. And that's about basically a vampire. And I acted in that one too. I can play the drums now. So I got to actually play the drums a little bit in the band. And then someone else asked me to help a social producer, Levi Feeney, for the Manosphere. So I'm acting this past weekend as a principal in there. So he said, "Oh, you're a social producer in this one too." I was like, "I am? Okay, sure. Yes, I am. Of course."
That's awesome. You got a lot going on.
Yeah, so I'm always posting like, "Hey, when do you cast this?" So I was like, "Hey," but I try to make sure whoever needs my time my time management is really good. So I'm devoted to whatever it's needed at that time. So I'm always on point for it. I got to know the script inside and out. So people ask questions. Most times they're asking the writing director, but most times they're reaching out to me because I know a lot of the stuff. So they're asking me like as a go between, like, hey, so I have to make sure I'm on top of my game to know, information. I'm always the go-to person, like, hey, what's this? And how far do you have call sheets yet? I'm working on it. I'll get it to you. Let me ask the director, But
yes. Listen, them call sheets, man.
Yes.
Woo. Because everything is just so detailed. People don't understand what goes into a call sheet. Everything is
seriously.
You even got to know when the sun come up and go down. It's just, come on.
Like, how much do you have?
You know what I mean?
You need to know that. I remember Red Light, we shot almost not 24 hours, a long time we were on set for, but we had to usually you're filming for daylight, trying to make sure you shoot before the sun goes down. But this time we shot from the evening on over, and we still nighttime shots, but we shot up until 6:30 in the morning. The sun about to come out. We still need to be dark. So we were shooting opposite. Like,
I love that though, because that's all a part of that creativity and that illusion that you create for your audience, because to them they think it's nighttime. And it's not. It's like morning. We're out here at 3:00 in the morning. And that's exactly the way that shot that I was talking about down Penn's Landing. It's like we got out there, it was like 3:30 in the morning and everything. And of course we making sure we're looking out for everybody's safety. We got out there like 3:30 in the morning because I think the sun was coming up like around 5 or what have you. And we want to make sure that it was a little window, and I'm like, this is hot. Like, I really liked it because, it shows the creativity, like I said, of the illusion. Of course, everybody thought that they was coming from dinner, but actually they had just got finished eating breakfast. So, you know what I mean? So it was really cool. So we are on the Deeva Show. I am speaking with Miss LaVeta Cameron, and she is a writer, a director, actor, producer, like all of the above. You need to check out her Facebook page, and as well as at Storms of Defense.
Yep. Storms of Defense. Assassinized, Storms of Defense. And the other one is StormSets. I started a new one. That's a new one I didn't talk about. I started that one recently because people have started asking me to do stuff with them. Like, because so StormSets is called that. It stands for StormSets Showcase Entertainers and Talents. So it started because people were asking me, hey, can you do my acting resume? And then I would get, as casting director, I would start getting submissions, but I'm looking like, this is how people are submitting? Like, why is there stuff looking like that? And it just looks all over the place. So it's like trying to standardize everything for them and help them do, they need photo shoots, a one-stop shop to get like, photo shoots under headshots and get your resume done or whatever else you need. So that's what I do for that for people who come in also, just to help them, because I get different calls like, hey, can you look this over for me? This and the other. But I think the easiest way to overall find me is probably LaVetaCamera.com, my website. That's probably the easiest one. And then Instagram, Facebook, Lady Ninja Storm or Lady Ninja Storm Productions, and LaVeta Cameron on Facebook. Yeah, LaVetaCamera.com is the easiest, probably.
Okay.
There's so many,
Well, it has been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you for having me.
Like I said, it was jaw dropping to look at your resume. It's so rounded. It's so full. You're doing some amazing things. I'm looking forward to seeing Red Light and checking out the other projects that you have going on. I enjoyed our interview. I hope that you enjoyed the interview.
I did so much enjoy talking to you. Can I tell them one more thing?
Yes.
If they want to look at the teaser for the Red Light teaser, I forgot to mention it's on my YouTube page, Lady Ninja Storm Productions on YouTube. So you can find a Red Light teaser out there.
Awesome. So what I'll do is when I this uploads, I'll make sure that I put all of your communication, all of your
it's a lot.
So that they'll be able to check it out and reach out and check
out
your teaser on YouTube, and what you post on Facebook and your other platforms.
Yes.
So I thank you for being on the Deeva Show. I truly appreciate it.
I'm so humbled and honored you even asked me. I was like, oh, she's gonna be on her show. So thank you so much. And congratulations on your films as well. I've been seeing your posts too. I'm like, yes, we're out here, Black women, female filmmakers, just, putting our name out there.
We're doing what we do. So I wanted to help your light continue to shine because you're shining.
Thank you. So are you. Like your name, people say your name. People know Deeva Gordon. They do.
I'm just here writing and trying to do my thing. That's all. Just telling some stories. That's all. I'm just telling stories.
That's what we do. That's right.
Well, it was great talking to you. And I'm sure I will see you soon.
Yes.
And again, I am looking forward to everything that you have coming up. And again, congratulations on your award with the Philadelphia Urban Film Awards.
Thank you so much.
All right. You're welcome. This is Deeva Gordon from the Deeva Show. You already know how I ended. Love, peace, and hair grease. I'll talk to you soon, Dow.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.